What's going on, guys? This is Eric, you're watching The Bolder Brew, and today we are talking about Hario V60, and specifically how much the 01 and 02 can actually brew. See, it says on the packaging this guy will do 1 to 2 cups, and this will do 1 to 4. But what do they actually mean by cups? Is it US 8-ounce cups? Or is it kind of typical coffee serving cups, which is officially something like 5 or 5.5 ounces or whatever? So point being, there's a couple different definitions of cups. So I wanted to do a quick little test, put some actual numbers on this, so that if you've got a V60 or you're thinking about buying one, you can get a better sense of how many people you can realistically serve. Now, the short answer is that the 01 is going to comfortably serve 2 decent sized kind of normal cups, if you will, like in that 6 to 8 ounce range, and 3 of those kind of smaller, daintier little cups. The 02 is going to serve 3 pretty generous ones, or roughly 5 small cups. But you might be wondering how I came up with those numbers. So we're going to hop on over to the lab, by which I mean my desk, and do a little test to see how much we can actually fit before we run out of room to pour water. Now, that is the one thing to remember. You could obviously fill either of these all the way up to the brim and make many, many cups of coffee. But if you leave yourself so little room under the rim, you're gonna have to pour your water in 20 or 30 milliliter increments. And frankly, it's kind of a pain in the butt. So what we're really looking for is how much coffee it takes to fill it up to, roughly this point, a little bit above halfway vertically, so that we have plenty of room to pour our water in maybe 2 to 4 rounds of pouring. Anyway, let's jump on over and see the results. We're going to start off with the V60 01 size, which is officially for 1 to 2 cups. But let's do a little real-time test here and see what we get. So we're around 21. I'll shake it level, and still got a little more capacity. And now, at just shy of 26 grams, you can see from the side there's not a lot of room left to pour water. Here's what we're looking at from another angle. So depending on how many pours you want to do, this is going to be right about the upper end of what the V60 01 will fit. And if I'll just round that up to 26 grams, then assuming a ratio of about 16 grams of water per gram of coffee, that gives you 416 grams of water, so you'll probably get about 380 output, roughly. And that 380-ish grams of output is the equivalent of about 13.5 ounces of brewed coffee. So that is 2 modest cups, or 1 big mugful, roughly. Now, I'm gonna clean up real quick and come back with the V60 02 to test the same thing. One moment. All right, here we are with the big boy. This is the V60 02, which is supposed to be for 2 to 4 cups. And we're gonna repeat the test and see where this leaves us. Already at 30 grams, we have plenty of room left. So I'm gonna say pushing this up to maybe 45 grams, give or take, should still work out quite nicely. There we are. It is pretty full vertically. Here's what we're looking at again. Anyway, so let's call this 46 grams and multiply it by 16 grams of water per gram of coffee. That gives us 736 grams of water, out of which ballpark maybe 700 grams will be actual output, which leaves us 25 ounces of coffee, which is about 4 modest cups or 2 big mugs. Now, there is a V60 03. I don't have one on hand because I've just never needed to make that amount of coffee before. But I think the 02 is probably the best all-around choice if you regularly make coffee for more than one person, but not a whole household. Just for 2 of you, 3 of you, what have you. Because the thing to consider is that you can always make less coffee in the larger one, but you can't make more coffee in the smaller one. You'll notice how the proportions are exactly the same in terms of width and angles and whatnot. Just the 02 continues up higher and that's where you get the extra capacity. So if you fill either one with 15 grams of coffee, let's say, it's going to fill them equally far, and the dynamics of the water and your pouring will be the same, and there's really no reason that the brew itself and the flavor should be any different. So there we have it, a little bit more concrete estimate of how many grams of coffee you can fit in either. And that's more useful than just providing a number of cups, because we can take the grams, multiply it by the brewing ratio we like to get a sense of how much coffee we can actually brew with a given size of V60. Now I should mention that I did this test with a pretty dark roast, which is a lot less dense, so it's going to weigh less for the same volume. That means if you're using a lighter roast, where I topped out at 25 point whatever grams, maybe you'll fit more like 27, 28, something like that. So if anything, I would view the amounts that I found in this test as kind of a minimum of what you can comfortably make, as long as you're willing to pour in multiple batches and not just one big single pour where you definitely run out of space. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. If you have any other questions about how to brew with the V60, let me know below. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.